The rapid global shift toward urbanization is overwhelming existing transport systems, causing severe congestion and urgent need for ecological balance. As Singapore transforms into a premier smart city, the government has implemented strict regulatory measures to slash carbon footprints, forcing logistic leaders like DHL Singapore to abandon outdated and unsustainable methods. This study analyzes DHL's green urban transformation, a high-stakes strategy that tackles land scarcity and urban density through the aggressive electrification of vehicle fleets and the integration of carbon-neutral smart warehouse technologies. Ultimately, this case study demonstrates how private sector innovation can successfully anchor national sustainability agendas while redefining the future of urban logistics.
Alright, so next I will move on to background of the study. To understand DHL Singapore's journey, we must first take a look at their unique environment in which they operate. And Singapore is a highly urbanized city-state covering a land of approximately 734 kilometers and supporting a population of roughly 5.9 million people. So this high population density creates an intensive daily demand for travel. While most residents relies on an extensive public transport network like MRT, LRT and buses, road-based transport remains the backbone for freight movement and last-mile logistics. And these operations are essential for serving Singapore's commercial district, industrial zone and residential neighborhood. And today, Singapore boasts as one of the most advanced transport and logistic networks in the region, and passenger mobility is seamlessly integrated while logistic activities relies on a complex web of expressway, arterial road, ports, airports and urban distribution center. However, operating in such a space-constrained environment is no easy feat. Logistic providers like DHL Singapore must navigate the strict regulations and the growing demand of e-commerce, as urban logistics contribute significantly to both traffic congestion and carbon emission. And there is an urgent need for the kind of sustainable and innovative planning that DHL is now spearheading. And so, I will pass to the next presenter.
Our study is centered on 4 core objectives that analyze how DHL Singapore maintains efficiency within a highly regulated and land-scarce environment. First, we investigate their primary operational challenges, specifically how Singapore's rapid urbanization has intensified traffic congestion and carbon emissions. Second, we explore DHL's strategic management approach, examining how they navigate environmental and spatial pressures by combining smart innovations with conventional logistic methods. Third, we analyze the deployment of their large-scale electric vehicle fleet, which is a critical step in decarbonizing last-mile deliveries. Finally, we examine the integration of smart infrastructure, focusing on the development of carbon-neutral warehousing to improve long-term energy efficiency.
These challenges faced by DHL Singapore are closely aligned with Sustainable Development Goal SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. SDG 11 emphasizes the need to make cities inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable, particularly in highly urbanized environments. DHL Singapore's effort to optimize limited urban space through vertical warehouses, reduce emissions through cleaner transport solutions and comply with strict environmental regulation directly support the objective of sustainable urban development by adapting its logistic operation to minimize congestion, lower carbon emissions and improve land use efficiency. DHL Singapore contributes to creating a more sustainable and livable urban logistics system within Singapore's density landscape. For this section, I will explain the key issues faced by DHL Singapore in managing its logistic operations within a highly urbanized city environment. The first major issue is limited urban space. Singapore is one of the most densely developed cities in the world, and land availability is extremely limited for DHL Singapore. This makes it difficult to expand logistics facilities using traditional methods. Instead of building new warehouses, the company is forced to optimize and retrofit existing buildings. This creates additional challenges in terms of space planning, warehouse layout, and operational efficiency. Logistics facilities must now be designed vertically and multifunctionally, which increases planning complexity and cost. As a result, limited land availability strongly influences how DHL Singapore plans and operates its logistic infrastructure. The second issue is high upfront investment costs. To support sustainable logistics operations, DHL Singapore has invested heavily in green technologies such as solar panels, intelligent lighting system, energy-efficient cooling, and smart building management system. Although these technologies provide long-term benefits, including lower energy consumption and reduced operating costs, the initial capacity required is very high. This makes sustainability initiative financially demanding, especially during the early stage of implementation. The high upfront cost can slow down adoption and requires careful financial planning to ensure long-term returns. Next, another important issue faced by DHL Singapore is traffic congestion and emission pressure. Urban logistic activity contributes significantly to road congestion, especially during peak hours. Congested road can delay deliveries, reduce efficiency, and increase fuel consumption. At the same time, there is increasing pressure from the government and society to reduce carbon emission from transport activities. DHL Singapore is therefore required to balance fast and reliable delivery services with environmental responsibility. While the company is transitioning toward electric vehicle, this process is still challenging due to limitation in charging infrastructure and operational constraint in dense urban areas. Next, the final key issue is regulatory compliance requirements. Singapore enforces strict environmental and sustainability regulations as part of its smart city and green development goals. DHL Singapore must continuously align its operation with these evolving policies, including green building standards and emission reduction targets. Compliance requires ongoing monitoring, documentation, and operational adjustment, which increases the complexity of logistic planning. However, failure to comply may result in penalties or operational restriction, making regulatory compliance a critical issue for the company. So, in conclusion, DHL Singapore faces multiple interconnected challenges, including limited land availability, high investment costs, traffic congestion and emission pressure, and strict regulatory requirements. This issue shows that operating logistics services in a dense urban environment requires careful planning, strong financial commitment, and continuous adaptation to sustainability goals.
For this analysis, a mixed method approach was adopted to align closely with DHL Singapore continuous improvement culture, which emphasized data-driven decision-making and innovation. This approach integrates qualitative and quantitative and comparative method, ensuring both practical relevance and strong analytical rigor. First, qualitative methods were used to gain in-depth insight into internal operation and strategic priorities. This include interview with key DHL Singapore stakeholders, focusing on internal policy and sustainability initiatives such as Go Green Plus. In addition, service design mapping of end-to-end logistic process was conducted. This method reflects DHL emphasis on supply chain integration and innovation, and they help identify operational strength, workflow gaps, and potential service design improvement. Next, quantitative method supported DHL Singapore reliance on data-driven operation. Survey were administered to evaluate customer satisfaction and employee efficiency. Furthermore, operational data including ticketing record, traffic volume, and real-time tracking information were analyzed. This data used to assess delivery performance, demand pattern, and the effectiveness of route optimization strategies. Finally, comparative analysis was applied to measure the impact of DHL Singapore Continuous Improvement Initiative. Before and after data was examined to evaluate outcome from technology adoption, process optimization, and sustainability measure. In addition, comparison with other city or regional DHL Singapore were included to benchmark performance and identify best practice. Overall, the mixed method approach provides a comprehensive and structured evaluation of DHL Singapore logistic performance while supporting continuous improvement through evidence-based insight. That's it for me.
So now I'm going to talk about evaluate outcome. The first one we got is assessment of objective and success. Decarbonization achieved via a large-scale electric vehicle fleet and carbon-neutral warehouse. Operational resilience enhanced by modernizing distribution center into future-ready facility. Regulatory compliance meet with the Green Mark Gold Plus certification. The second one is cost effectiveness and scalability. Financial strategy involve high initial investment in technology like PV solar system and intelligent LED lighting, leading to long-term saving. Scalability plan include developing a standardized green logistic model for replication in global urban areas. And the last one is challenges and unintended consequences. Infrastructure gap impede the full transaction due to limitation in grid capacity and EV charging infrastructure. Technical complexity in integrating smart energy system into existing building require expertise and system capability. Land use pressure remain a challenge for logistic provider in securing space for facility. Thank you.
So for this section, I will explain the main recommendation based on our study on DHL Singapore Sustainable Logistic Operation. The first recommendation is to strengthen collaboration with government and urban authorities. DHL Singapore should work more closely with local councils and transport agency to better integrate logistic activities with city planning. By sharing real-time delivery and traffic data, we can optimize delivery routes and reduce traffic congestion in busy areas. Implementing green delivery zones and off-peak delivery schedules can also improve last-mile delivery efficiency. Through strong cooperations, the government and logistic companies can create a more organized and sustainable urban transport system. The second recommendation is to increase the use of renewable energy in logistic facilities. Although DHL Singapore has already adopted electric vehicle and carbon neutral warehouse, there is still room for improvement. For example, the company can install more solar panels and energy efficiency charging stations at its logistic hubs. This will help reduce dependence on fossil fuels and lower long-term operating costs. By using clean energy, DHL can strengthen its commitments to environmental protection. Other cities with limited space can also apply small-scale renewable energy solutions without major infrastructure development. The third recommendation is to develop a standard greens logistic model for wider operation. DHL Singapore should document and organize its successful sustainable practice such as route optimizations, pilot testing for new technologies, and the Go Green Plus initiative into a structured framework. This model can serve as a reference for other DHL branches and logistic providers. By adapting these frameworks to local regulation and conditions, other cities can learn from the DHL Singapore experience and improve their own logistic system. In summary, this recommendation aims to improve cooperations, promotes clean energy usage, and encourage knowledge sharing. By applying this strategy, DHL Singapore and other logistic companies can boost efficiency while reducing their environmental impact and supporting sustainable urban development. So for the conclusions, this study found that DHL Singapore face several challenges in managing logistics in a dense urban environment. This challenge includes limited land, increasing traffic congestion, and strict environmental regulation. This factor can affect delivery speed, operational costs, and environmental performance. To tackle this challenge, DHL Singapore has implemented effective solutions. One key solution is the use of electric vehicles. This helps reduce carbon emissions and air pollution. Additionally, smart warehousing system and data-driven logistic planning enable the company to manage inventory efficiently and optimize delivery routes. These technologies save time, lower fuel consumption, and improve service reliability. Moreover, DHL sustainability program like Go Green Plus promote responsible practice throughout the supply chain. The company collaborates with government agency to ensure its operations support national transport and environmental policies. This teamwork helps improve urban planning and encourage sustainable logistic development. Overall, this solution demonstrates the innovations, technology, and strong partnership are vital for creating efficient and eco-friendly logistics system. DHL Singapore serves as a prime example of how logistic companies can achieve business success while being environmentally responsible and supporting sustainable development goals. So that's all. Thank you.